Today we're going to visit an old friend. Don't go away. Hello everybody and welcome to Fat Guy Productions. I am Paul, coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. And indeed we're going to visit an old friend. Now I kind of have a personal rule. I don't like to redo cars. If I've done a split an image, I don't want to do another one. Okay, I will, but there's got to be a compelling reason. And today we are going to redo a car. Today we're going to be redoing a Red Baron. Now, I've done one before, and the deal is I gave it away. I don't have one. So we're going to do another Red Baron today. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get to work. Well, I don't like to repeat, and yet here I am about to do a Red Baron. Now, I have done a Red Baron, and I'll put a link below for that video. So why am I doing another Red Baron? Well, let me tell you. Here's the deal. The first Red Baron I did, it wasn't really a restoration. It was a resto mod. I put a kind of a flat metallic red paint job on it of my own design. And one of my subscribers had mentioned how much he loved the car and how he has this all red collection of castings. And so I sent it to him. Yeah, I gave him the car. And so that left me without a Red Baron, and it also left me without a Red Baron that I've ever restored. So I felt like this wasn't really a redo. This was a new thing. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take and give this Red Baron some new life. Now, one of the unique things about the Red Baron is while it has two posts, neither of them are part of the body. In most cases, Hot Wheels posts are part of the body, and they go through the base, and then they're crimped down. That's not the case here. The motor has one post, and the helmet has the other. And that's virtually unseen in any other casting. So, yeah, we'll drill those out just like normal, but it is a little bit of a unique situation. So with both posts drilled out, I can go ahead and gently pry the motor off the car. And then I'll do the same with the helmet. And now we can get this car completely apart and see what we have to deal with. So this is a later Red Baron. It is still a Redline, as you can see by the wheels. But it's got the red enamel paint. And the axles are solid axles that go right through and are crimped on the ends, which I hate. They're such a pain to work with. But yeah, so anyhow, we're gonna doll this thing up and make it neat. Well, there's not a lot to like about this particular era of casting. To drill out and prep the posts through the helmet and the motor, I actually really kind of have to hold the piece by hand while I'm prepping it and drilling it, and that makes me very, very uncomfortable. I don't like to do it. Yes, I've drilled into my hand before. It is not fun. So I'm going to go carefully, but I still need to get the job done. So we'll just hold the stuff. I'm prepared to kind of dodge and duck and dive if I need to. But we'll go slow and steady, and we'll win this race and keep me from poking holes into my hand. So with both posts cleaned up, I can drill into them, then a little lube, and we'll tap them so that they'll take a screw, and then we can put those parts aside for the time being. I'll say this. The Redline Hot Wheels, their paint was not very strong. Okay, my warm liquid goo phase will make short work of this. I should be able to go back to this in about an hour and all the paint should just fall right off of it and I'll be able to keep working. So that's a good thing. So I've mentioned how much I hate the solid wire axles. And there's not really any good way to replace them. So here's what I've come up with. I have some lengths of hub material, and I cut them to the size of a Hot Wheels hub, and I drill out the center of it so it will take a piece of music wire, which will be my replacement axle. And basically what I'm doing is I'm making my own crimped axle. So once I have 4 hubs and 2 axles cut to length, I can go ahead and get rid of the others and put all this together. So I need to get the original axles and wheels off without damaging the crimp that is in the base that holds everything on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut away 1 wheel on each axle. Then using a pair of side cutters, I'm going to cut away the flattened end of the axle. And this will allow me to pull the whole rest of it right out of the base and leave that crimp in place so I can slide my new replacement axle right through it. So I've already flattened one end of the new axle, and I've slid 1 bearing on it. Now I'm going to slide the axle through the crimp on the base. Once it's in position, I can put the other bearing on, and then I will flatten the other end of the axle, and everything will be locked tight, and then all I got to do is pop on a couple new wheels. So the helmet is a little bit beat up, so I'm going to sand it down using some 220 grit sandpaper, and I'll work my way up to about 1,000 grit sanding sponge, and then I'll polish it up with Flitz, and it should look like a diamond. So I've pulled the body from the warm liquid goo, and I can take a look at it, and I'm pretty happy with what I've got going here. I think it should polish up really nicely. So I'm just going to dry it up, and then I'll go ahead and put a buffing wheel in my rotary tool, and I'll hit this up with some Flitz. I'm very happy with the way this is shining up, and I think it's going to take the paint that I'm going to use really, really well. So instead of going back with the opaque red paint. I'm going to use Spectraflame Red that I got from the Redline shop. And I'm just going to lay it down as I normally do, starting with my tack coats, then my medium coats, and then finally some nice wet coats. And this thing should come out looking really beautiful. The body was in pretty good shape, it shined up really nice, and the red always comes out pretty spectacular. So I'm excited with how this is going to look. That, my friends, is the ticket, and this looks fabulous. I gotta tell you, it is great. So, with everything polished, the paint is dry, the new wheels are on, everything's ready to go, I can go ahead and start putting this back together. And I'll start by marrying the base to the body, and I'm going to hold it all together by putting the engine in first. So I pop the engine through both pieces and then run a screw in. Next, the interior is dropped in, and finally we can finish this car up by putting the iconic helmet back on top and screwing it all down. I'm going to cheat just a little bit here because I cannot even stand the idea of the guns being red. So I'm going to break out some gunmetal paint and I'm going to paint the guns on either side, let that dry, and then I can call this build complete. I'm really glad I took this one on. I didn't have one in my collection, now I do, and I think it came out great. All right, everybody, there it is, my Red Baron, and I think this one came out, honestly, better than the last one. I think this looks fantastic. I'm super happy to have done it, and I'm glad I've got it for my collection now. I hope you loved this video, and if you did, please give it a giant thumbs up, click subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss one of my restoration videos. As always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I love to hear from you guys. Okay, that's going to do it for today. I'm going to get out of here. Until next time, this is Paul from Fat Guy Productions saying, be good.